Good evening, guys and gals, and welcome to the Friday, February 3rd, Friday night stream. I couldn't keep a guest nailed down for tonight. Been little tiny issues with that for tonight, so I figured why not do an open mic? They're always popular. We might as well have some fun with it. Hey, Squatch, good to see you, bud. Hope you're doing good. What? What? That's right. I think that's what that says. What? Nah, it's too far away. Oh, goodness gracious sakes. Let's see here. Hey, Ty, good to see you, bud. Let me see if I can get copy. Take that off there. Then we'll go here. Paste. Hit that. And then I will go ahead and I will pin this to the top up here. Oh, good evening, Jan. Good to see you, love. Hope you're doing good. I was actually going to try to get AAP and Mrs. AAP up tonight. Um, but, he's under the weather a little bit and still trying to run a business, still trying to run a very popular channel. I spent like 3 hours with them earlier on their channel during the live stream. Don't know about next week yet. I sent an email to a couple 2 days ago that do colonial period reenacting. They've got two channels on YouTube. I believe it's called Colonial Patriot and Colonial or something, Colonial American. But very cool couple. Haven't heard back from them yet. So once again, very popular channel. Don't know if they even had a chance to read the email yet. Hey Jay, good to see you, bud. Hope you're doing good. I'm feeling horrible. My back is a mess today. I've been walking with the cane. I've been using mine for the last couple of days. I don't know if it's the cold weather or what. Yesterday it was in my lower back. Today it was in like from the center of my back, that dorsal area, all the way to the middle of my shoulder blades. It was like everything was out of whack. You guys have no clue how good it feels to lay in bed at night, lay on my left side, and shift my hips up to get my lower back to pop. And on the nights that I can't get it to pop, those are the nights the wife starts to worry about what I'm going to be like the next morning. Well, let me see here. Greetings from across the pond. What's up, Sniper? Good to see you, bud. Hello, Terry. Nice to have you tonight, dear. I think it's the cold weather. Same here. All the same places. Yep. I keep mine very, very handy. I picked this up in Gettysburg back in 2020 when I was here. It's got the solid brass ball, but if I find a head that I like better, this one here completely screws off. There is no cane store, but it has the chuck on it here, where you could put any type of head on it, as long as it's the same size thread. And well, I don't got to worry about carrying a weapon when I'm carrying this. The shaft is hardwood, and like I said, this thing right here is solid brass. So, oh, let's see here. It is a tail-to-tail Squatch, that is for sure. I've used one on and off for God, 30, 33 years, ever since I hurt my back on that workman's comp case, and nothing ever happened with it because the job let me go before the workman's comp could fix my back problems. They just cut me off. So, Indiana, 45th out of the nation at that time with the worst workman's comp. Pulled mine from the ocean.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. How unusual. Oh,
you just give me back money. Make it tonight.
Thank you, honey. That was a lifesaver. I was down to my last 3 cigars. It was a lifesaver right there. It's not an illegal weapon, a cane, a walking aid, even an umbrella. Yeah, here either. Then again, here you can walk down the street carrying a sword as long as you don't pull it out of the scabbard and flash it around. So, um, I have the usual crook cane. I have one of those too. Been crazy at work with Memphis being down the last 3 days. Looking at Monday with at least 50 to 60 stops already beside what gets picked today. Jeez, criminy. As soon as I finish my drink, I'll be heading upstairs to watch the stream. I fired up my coffee pot again. I figured, why not? I'm starting a little late. The wife didn't get off work till almost 6:30, and by the time she stopped at the store to get the noodles for dinner tonight, I wouldn't have been able to eat till after 9. And well, I'm hungry. I'm a fat little dude, and I like to eat. So she took the leftovers of that Philly steak and cheese sloppy Joe she made last night, made up some noodles, put it in there, and yummy, yummy. Even if you sharpen the handle and to a dull point, most excellent for pressure points. Actually, Sniper, to be honest with you, this was about this much longer, but it was too long, and it was down to a dull point. So we cut it off and went on and put the cane end on it, but it was just a hardwood end. And I would say the point of it was probably about as big as the tip of my pinky finger. Just a cane, Victorian one. Looks like Doc Holliday would have used it. I love it. You are not fat. I was fat at one time. I was fat at one time. But anyway, guys, we're gonna do an open mic tonight. Since I couldn't get a guest tied down for tonight, and waiting backstage, we already got our first guest, Mr. Sasquatch himself. So let's bring him up here. What do you say?
Get myself situated. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, you may want to do that.
I got something.
Oh, we're flying through the vortex with Squatch again, guys.
I picked this one up off of the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, on a beach, and it was attached to huge cypress root. Right. Brought it home, sanded it down, cut it off to fit, cut it the right length, put me a little stopper on the end of it because the damn thing's flickered and greased house shit, son. Let me fiddle with my stuff.
Hey, Christine.
Testing.
I can hear you just fine, sir.
I'm echoing. somewhere.
I can't hear you if you are.
Uh, okay. Everything else seems fine. It's just light, I
Yep.
guess.
So, what you been up to?
I had a birthday yesterday.
Did you
Yep.
finally hit the big 30, huh?
44, baby.
44. You're a decade younger than I am. My God.
Yeah, you don't look it, do it.
Well, actually, I mean, you look young. I would have never. I would have thought 40. I mean, I would have taken a half a decade off for you.
Oh, that's nice. I appreciate it. Although I earned these, every single one of these gray hairs. So, yeah, let's get into that. You wanted a story? I'll give you a story. I got a cane,
Most definitely. I love your stories.
right? So when I was 23 or 4, 27, I fell through a floor in a short trailer that was being remodeled. I had a tree fall through it, got wet. I had to strip it down and cut it into pieces so we could scrap it. But in the process, I crashed through the floor like a meteor. You know the
Mhm.
plastic layer that's underneath the trailer that they staple to the bottom to keep the rodents out and stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
It really holds in a little insulation or whatever, and you'll have a few holes through it. That stuff was intact, and it had been raining into it for weeks. So when I went in, that tarp material stretched, and it started filling up with water. So I was stuck in a hole not quite big enough for me to fit through, that I had just fit through, with my right knee stuck against the backside of my head. My tool belt twisted halfway around the wrong way, and my left arm, my left arm stuck under me. So I had to get back
So
to
when
where.
your tool belt twisted, did it almost act like a key lock and lock you into the hole?
Actually, it was a bit worse because when the tool belt went through, you know how it hangs down? I was upside down,
Mm-hmm.
so it up. And my
Oh
right
dear
foot
God.
the back of my head because it's sticking out of the hole. So I'm stuck in the insulation trying to figure out how to get to a blade so I could get out of this situation. Balled up like a little ball. And all of a sudden I saw daylight, which happened right at the edge of where my elbow was. And it let my elbow poke out, which gave me enough room to grab my hook knife, which let me get out of there. Still dislocated my shoulder, my right hip, and the coccyx bone that attaches to your pelvis has a little crack in it or a joint. I dissociated it.
Oh.
So you know that feeling you get when you sit down a little too quick and it kind of bruises your tailbone a little bit?
Um.
Kind of want to cry about it, but it doesn't hurt bad enough to cry. And
No, but I know what it's like to jump out of bed too quick when I've been laying on my side and my hip pop.
It's probably somewhere along those lines. In this case, every time I stepped, it would spread that crack. And so I ended up having to basically stay bedridden for a few months. And because I am me, I was incapable of doing that. So I developed an enormous drug habit. You know.
Oh.
So 10 years of carrying around a cane, walking with a cane everywhere, and doing the whole I can't walk thing because I couldn't walk. And finally, this is going to sound terrible. I ran across Xanax, which knocked me completely out and left me on a couch for almost a month. At the end of that month, I was capable of walking. That's what it took, was complete bed rest. And after that month, I quit every drug known to man and walked away from it.
Really?
As soon as I could stand up and walk without crying, I got off everything. And this thing got me through 99% of it. I found it a few weeks after. In fact, the vacation I went on where I found this was to try to heal up from having fallen through a floor.
Uh-huh. Wow.
It is a tale to tell.
Man, I'll tell you what. It is a tale to tell, that's for sure. Yeah, I remember back when I hurt my back on the job, I wound up doing like nerve damage, and they discovered degenerative disc disease in my lower spine, and the
Yep.
nerve damage was enough to, for some reason, knock out my legs. So I was in a wheelchair for probably a 3.5 weeks, and then I moved on to crutches, and then the cane. But I was never. I should always have been walking with the cane, but I was just too damn stubborn at 20 some odd years old to walk on one, and but I always keep it nearby just in case. Needless to say, I kind of unofficially started collecting canes a little bit, only because
It is something that does happen quite easily.
Yeah.
And it seems like if you have a really cool cane, people will give you less cool canes just because you don't have one.
Yeah, but I always find a reason to use a fancy smancy cane, regardless of what time period I use. I mean, I've even got a cane over here that's got mink wrapped around it, and got the hair pipe and beads and stuff, and so when this beard is as long as yours, and I'm out there trying to do Revolutionary War era something, I have an appropriate cane to use. But I'm nervous. They are both so natural. Hey, everybody here is natural, Sarah. That's one reason that I like doing open mics with this group, is everybody's got some kind of story to tell. They've got some kind of personal history, something interesting to talk about. And that's one of the reasons I love doing open mics on this channel, is everybody is so unique in their own way. So it makes everybody on here special. I love going over and being on Squatch's channel. He comes over here when I need him and stuff like that. And he's always here for just the regular live streams and stuff. So, one time at band camp, exactly, Burnaby, exactly. My dad's been moving things. Yeah. There's a running gag here in the house because my daughter was in band 2 years ago, and she was playing flute, and she walked out of the room after her mom got the flute from the school, and she said, "One day at band camp," I said, "That is my little girl you're talking about." I said, however, some of the little hookers she goes to school with might include tuba in that sentence somewhere. So the more you're on, the easier it gets. That's what she said. It's true.
You didn't specify. I mean, what type of story?
I don't care. Any kind of story. Hey, Tony, any kind of story. I don't care. It could be a funny story. It could be a spooky story. It don't have to happen to you.
Okay, I got a spooky story. This isn't going to be terrible. All right. So, I grew up in this huge swamp in the middle of nowhere. The nearest neighbor was 2-3 miles away if the house was occupied, and it usually wasn't. So when we decide to go camping, it might be a little bit more than your average camper is used to. Because you got to consider when you step out my back door, you're right there in the heart of the swamp. So that's not all that much campy to me. I got to go somewhere else where it's deeper for it to seem like camp. Because I've had black bears, cougars, bobcat, you named a small furry animal, I've had them in my yard. So it's not exactly safe in my yard. I'm going somewhere to be slightly unsafe, right? Okay. Bunch of friends want to go camping one weekend. They're not my friends. They're my brother's friends.
Oh, Lord.
He's got to work until Saturday. So Thursday night, he wants me to take them out there to where they're going to camp. And I'm like, no. Just So he's like, come on, man, I'll give you $20. I'll make it 50. I mean, it's going to take me a day to get them out there, and I'm going to have to walk the fuck back because there's no way I'm going to be able to get a four-wheeler off of them after I get out there. So we might be able to get out there in a couple of hours, but it's going to take me a while to get back. So $50. He said, fine, give me the $50. Rolls around the Thursday, 16 teenagers and a 12-year-old. I'm the 12-year-old.
Boy, the things you learned that weekend.
Well, let's just say it wasn't the first adult party I'd been to, so I didn't learn nothing new. I just learned new ways for it to happen. Okay.
Now, I guess I should ask before you continue, were these all teenage boys?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
And we're not talking about a Boy Scout troop here. We're talking about a group of hard-drinking rednecks that all raided their mama's liquor cabinets and ran away. Being guided by a 12-year-old Sasquatch. I did not know we had idiots amongst us. However, I found out soon. So the decision was made. We're going out to Murdoch's Landing. It's an old washed-out boat landing that doesn't exist really anymore. Nobody uses it, but it's got a good flat spot. It's about 12 foot above the high mark of the river, so it's a perfect little camp spot. You won't drown just when you go to sleep. Yeah, we're a little ways under a dam, so when they open the dam, it can be dangerous. So you have to take thoughts like that into consideration, which is something these people did not realize. So this landing is easiest gotten to either by driving a vehicle to a pond that is not even on a map and then walking a quarter mile across country to where it's at on an old logging road so your feet stay dry. Or you can take your four-wheelers and go down beside the train tracks and get to within a couple of 100 yards of it. But there's a creek between here and there. And you can't take your four-wheeler across the creek. And you can't keep your four-wheeler on the train tracks. So you got to decide what you're going to do with all this stuff one way or the other. They hear this and they go, okay, we'll take the train tracks. I'm like, you've got 7 four-wheelers full of people. Where are you going to put the four-wheelers? Well, we'll figure something out. I've been doing this for 5 years. There's nowhere to put them. You can't figure it out when you get there. You've got to tell me what you're going to do with them. So either I'm keeping 6 of you and taking the four-wheelers out and taking them around to where the pond is so they can be parked and not get run over, robbed, stolen, catch on fire, or otherwise destroyed. Or just taken by the freaking train people. I mean, that's possible. So we have that conversation. It comes down. We make one trip out there with all the four wheelers. We unload all the crap. We load up several people on one of the four wheelers. They try to go as far as they can and drown a four wheeler. So we use one four wheeler, pull out the other four wheeler. Now we have to pull it all the way out, almost 2 miles up this train track to get it back to the road to drain it. And somebody else has to drive it. And four other people have to drive their four wheelers back out, meaning they're fixing to have to walk that 2 miles back in there. They're all really unhappy. I'm exceptionally unhappy because now I'm fixing to have to do this twice. But screw it. I agreed. We're in it now. Embrace the suck. Do what you got to do. Right? Okay. So we park the four wheelers where they're supposed to be. We pull all the plugs so they'll drain out. We do what we can, pack everything up, and we take a quarter-mile walk from the pond over to the little campsite. And I get there, and there's nobody at the campsite. After looking around, I found them still on the other side of the creek with all their stuff just sitting around. I'm like, okay, well, it's right here. You could see it from where you were standing. Well, we didn't want to carry all this stuff. You're carrying it, bud. That's how this works. So they're out there for a week. They're staying from Thursday till Saturday. Right. So a little over a week. I get them all set up. Explain, okay, if it rains, it's going to flood from this way. There's high ground that way. Don't go that way. That's suicide. There's quicksand over there and sinkholes out that way. Good luck. And I walk my happy butt home. So,
and left them there?
Yes, that was the deal. These are adults-ish. And I get home. The whole day, the whole night, nothing untoward takes place. Let me explain. This area is actually not that far off the beaten track. It's just really hard to get to because there's a river on one side, a pond on the other side, a creek on the other side, and it's high ground. So you wouldn't expect it to be there. I theorize that it might be an old mound, but I don't know. I've never found anything to prove that, but there are artifacts found in the area all the time. And it's high ground. I know I keep repeating that, but it's important. I live in a swamp. So these 10 or 12 teenagers are out there partying. They're having a good time. Everything's cool. My brother comes home from work the next day, and he's like, I need you to ride me out there and bring the four-wheeler. Like, okay, sure. He said, in fact, why don't you grab some stuff to cook, come spend the night tonight, and you can take whoever needs to go home in the morning and get up. He's like, I'll give you a bag of that good, and you can just come chill with us. And I'm like, fine. We ride up there, drop him off. I've got the four-wheeler now. What am I supposed to do with this? So I have to drive all the way back around, park it with the rest of them, walk a quarter mile in. And by then it's dark, like really dark. I come up on a group of these people burning a ginormous fire to the heavens and screaming, hooting, and hollering, dancing around in a circle like some Lord of the Flies stuff. If I hadn't have known who they were, it might have been humorous. What I knew was every single one of them had 357 or 44 Magnum. This is terrifying.
Yeah.
So I
can see that.
It wasn't creepy to me because I was the one doing it, but it was creepy to them because they couldn't figure out what was going on. Now, my brother knows that I'm supposed to be back in a minute, and he knows which direction I'm going to come from. So he's kind of waiting around for me to pop up any second now, but I don't. And I don't. And directly he notices his bedroll's gone. And Tony's stool is gone. And where did the cooler full of beer go? Well, what is going on? What in the world is going on in this place? Why are they taking our stuff? So I'd been creeping around outside of the camp, everything I could get my hands on out of there. I had emptied out an entire tent, completely cleaned it out, nothing left. I mean, like I swept out the dust out of the bottom of the where I lived. It looked immaculate. Before the night was done, I had stolen all of the cooking implements, except for a single cup, a single spoon, a single fork, and a single knife, which I left sitting in the empty tent. After they had noticed it was cleared out, and then later they find the utensils in there when they're sitting around with a bunch of fish trying to figure out how to cook it with nothing to cook with. So the longer they stay over the next day, the worse their campsite gets and the better mine gets, because I set up about 300 yards away and just stuck around taking their stuff, waiting until I got spotted. But they were already hammered, so they didn't spot me. So like it wasn't until like the next afternoon, about 4 o'clock, my brother just walks out slamming his stick on trees, screaming, "That's right! Bring me my cooler back! I want it back! I want it back!" And finally, he comes across my camp where I'm sitting over there, burnt down, toe up from the flow up. Man, I was drinking rum, had me a tiny little bitty stealth fire over yonder with a pot of coffee sitting on top of it. Had the liquor laid up in a thing full of ice. That's the cooler. They became angry. They took all of my stuff.
I bet they became angry.
They spent the next 2 days trying to terrorize me. It was some of the most fun I ever had in my life.
I'm really glad that you finished that story with them finding your camp, because if you didn't, that was going to be my big question: is did they ever figure out where all their stuff went?
Oh yeah, no, you should have seen it too. Skunk Ape comes wandering through there, which of course I'm an ass pirate. I'm going to put my camp somewhere that's difficult to get to, so you can't get there without wading through water, period. So after thinking on it, he knew there was another hill over there that was good for camping on it. There's no way you drug all that stuff off that creek. You didn't do that. And so he goes all the way up and down one side trying to find a place to cross. And then finally, he just wades across, comes down the other side and finds my camp. What was wacky?
I like how you said that. I'm an ass pirate, so you know. And I thought I was the only one that used that term.
I learned it from watching you.
Okay.
So he got within like 15 feet of my camp with a fire burning, and me sitting there watching him walk back and forth on the other side of the little slough right yonder, and never saw me because I wasn't moving around and my fire was hidden and everything. I knew he knew I was there because he could smell it. He smelled bacon, eggs. He's standing on top of me. But from where he was at, you couldn't see me because there's a little hill there, and I could just like poke my nose up from sitting in the chair and see over it. If I'd have been standing up, it'd have been obvious. But a little short tent, a little short chair, couldn't see it. So they took everything. They completely mugged me. They took it all. They wouldn't let me get near the fire. They kept throwing rocks at me. They poured my coffee out on my fire. They stole all their beer back, took all their liquor back, took everything that wasn't nailed down. The only upside was right before Dan come walking up, I stood up with my little go bag that I keep packed up and just walked out of the camp. They come in and take everything. I come back to the camp, lay out my bedroll. Took me a nap. Went back to screwing with them. Okay, so I hear this story.
I would have done everything in my power to scare the hell out of them. I would have made noises. I would have tossed rocks around their camp. I would have banged on trees. I would have done everything.
These people are armed. Hard pass on that one, but I don't want to scare them. I want them to be uncomfortable and feel haunted.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense.
So I hear this story later from Barry, the youngest one. He was about 14.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up in a fairly, a larger city than this one, but he was a city kid. Second time he's ever been camping, and the first time was with the Boy Scouts. He was a bit confused while they were following a 12-year-old around. But do what you got to do, I guess. So he tells me this story later, not realizing who I was, that I was the person that had led them out there. He's like, dude, I don't know what was going on. I was drunk. Tony had brought some LSD. I still hadn't figured out where I was. And my stuff kept disappearing. It would just be there 1 second. Gone. He's like, my pistol's gone. I didn't take his pistol. I wouldn't do that. Then my bedroll's gone, and then my liquor's gone, and then my food is gone, and then my bag is gone, and then everybody's stuff is gone. And somebody keeps screaming about Sasquatch. I got nervous. It had the desired effect, I suppose. I have visitors.
See, those are the kinds of stories that remind me of my teenage years.
I was 12. We get to my teenage years, things start getting exciting. Oh, wrong hole. Well, that's what she said.
We used to have these football parties in high school out in the country, about 3/4 of a mile across the field in the woods from one of our team members' house, and we'd go out there, set tents up in a circle, put the fire in the middle. Of course, the parents all knew where we were camping at and stuff like that, because you could see the fire that we built clear from the road on either side of the field. I would say flames probably 10 or 12 feet in the air, and you could hear us out there. And we were right by a major highway. Now, I don't know if y'all do this down south. I'm pretty sure you do. I think teenagers everywhere have corned a car before.
When you corn a car, you're putting as much corn in the car as possible.
No. You get handfuls of corn and throw it at passing cars.
Nope, that's brand new to me, dude.
Of course, you got to take it off the cob before you do it. I mean, you just get the loose grain laying in piles in the field, where they put it in the trailers. But we wound up corning like 15 cars that night, and the last car we corned was a county sheriff. His lights came on. He pulled off the side of the road, keyed up that mic, started yelling. Within about 15 minutes, you had like Jeeps out there. And, we were already in the woods line. We had poured beer and water and everything on the fire, get it down as low as we could. We're all laying down in the
There's your
weeds, watching these Jeeps,
you wasn't swamp.
spotlights. Well, the funny thing was, every one of us had a ball game the next week. No, Sunday, so 2 days later. Every member of the football team either put on our uniforms and went out there and sweated with the worst case of chiggers you ever had in your life, or there were the two boys who were wearing shorts that laid down in the poison ivy.
Yep.
We learned to never do that again. The hard way.
What was his name? The one that was running around telling everybody the Swamp Wise gossip, how to be Swamp Wise. Okefenokee Joe, that's it.
Oh.
20 years old, dude. Hold on, what's on YouTube about
You too,
Okie?
Tony.
Let's see.
I don't know. I've never heard of him before.
What? No way. He could not possibly. See, he cop pops right up as soon as you try to search for it. It's a GPTV series. Oh my God, he's so old. That's 11 years ago. Wow. Dude, how old am I?
For a second, I thought she was talking about Turtle Man.
Yo, Okefenokee Joe, hold on. We use still frames. Anybody recognize this man? All right, so I know 30 years at least since I was a very small cub. This man did a series on GPTV that was I think the name of the show was Okefenokee Joe.
Huh.
And he did like these little things where, like, the difference between a black water and a clear water swamp.
Yeah, somewhat. Not. I mean, I've never
cannot.
really been around swamps before.
A black water swamp is black water because it is full of tannins. The tannins sterilize the water. You can straight drink the water out of a black water swamp, and it'll taste like crap, but you can drink it. Might make it sting when you pee, but you can drink it. You cannot do that.
What's a good pee without a little bit of sting to it?
But you can't do that in a clear water swamp because it's not tannined enough to be sterile. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he would go through doing like the Les Stroud, Bear Grylls kind of thing, but he did it from like the view of a set piece. He would go to a location in the Okefenokee and explain that the reason we call this the Okefenokee, it is the land of the trembling earth. And we will show you exactly why it was named that. There are these great big huge vegetable rafts that grow. And in the dry season, they sit firmly on the ground. And when it rains enough and enough water fills up the swamp, they float and break away and float off downstream. And there's stories of different tribes having set up villages on some of these places and woke up miles away from where they went to sleep because it rained a little bit last night. And when you walk on these patches, the whole world does this. Hence the name of the swamp, Okefenokee, the land where the earth moves. But to know that, you've got to be wise, son. I'm looking for a really old one. Nope. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do me a whole show on Okefenokee Joe. You watch, see if I don't. Mm-hmm. I ain't even thought about that man in 20 years, probably. He's
Wow.
to me kind of like the way Mr. Rogers is to you, right? Everybody knows Mr. Rogers. So Okie Finoki Joe was 2 o'clock in the morning. There'd be 4 or 5 episodes in a row on GPTV because they're cheap, and he'd already made his episode. Hello, Carrie, Christine. I suppose that should be
Hey,
Chris.
Carrie.
Tony, good to see you, bud.
And squat your echoing.
I no see. I'm telling you, it's not on my end. I have all of my gear checked out right here in front of me. It is echoing on his end somehow. I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know how, because volume is completely turned off over here, and these are the
You have your
same.
off?
Do I have what?
Echo cancellation
Um,
on the StreamYards.
oh, yeah. Let me see here. Audio. Echo cancellation.
Now is it on? Hello? I'm not echoing anymore.
And now it's back on.
Oh.
All right.
Call.
Well, and we'll go back, and we'll go back. All right. Did that help, guys?
You wouldn't really be able to find out till I started talking. Nope, it's still there.
Carmundrum, welcome, welcome. Can you hear it?
I can hear the echo. But I can't
see.
stop
I can't
the
hear
echo.
anything.
Testing. Does that stop the echo? No.
Nope. So I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna turn that back on again because I didn't hear that when it was on.
Well, we weren't talking when it was on.
There's that.
All right. No echo. No echo. No echo. Cool. Now your turn.
Maybe I just had to turn it off and turn it back on.
Fantastic. So now I'm gonna go back and tell all my stories again. So
Well, you may wind up being just stuck up here with me because no one else is backstage waiting to come up. So
I'm pretty sure you don't want to
may just be the. I've had Carrie before. I've heard it all.
Already heard them twice. Yeah, okay.
This one time at boot camp.
About the echo. This one time at boot camp. Yeah.
I don't want to know what he did with the with. Yeah, I don't want to know. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah. This one time at boot camp, I stuck a bazooka. Yeah. I tried to be cool in front of the female recruits over in the next company next door. Well, tried to lean up against my M16, and I found out just how thin those BDUs were. Rip. Actually, anybody that wants to come up and be up here, tell your stories, whatever the case may be, the link is pinned up at the top of the chat. All you gotta do is hit that link. You'll pop up backstage, and I can throw you right in, and you can talk. Tell your stories, tell your experiences, talk about your videos, BS around. It's real easy to do. I mean, if I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out.
That's kind of how
You
I
know,
feel about it.
I ain't exactly the crumbliest cookie in the Oreo pack, y'all. So I mean,
There is a pregnant
why
Barbie doll.
is that's a good question.
There is.
Did they make a pregnant Barbie doll?
They made a whole rainbow of pregnant Barbie dolls so that nobody would feel left out.
Because Ken came in another box.
I don't get it. No, actually, I do, but it's funnier if I say I don't.
Well, you know, Ken and Barbie been together since like the 1950s. So I'm thinking they should have came out with the cheating sister Skipper doll with Ken. Nope, no stretch marks, so obviously fakey. I don't know, guys. There's a question that I never thought we would ever have on a live stream on this channel. You know, why didn't they make a pregnant Barbie doll?
I could have predicted it on mine. It's inevitable.
That is very, very true, Tony. He is kind of like a eunuch. So yeah, wouldn't matter which box kid came in. Barbie, yeah, no, nope,
Regardless, it won't have any tackle in that box, will it?
nope, 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 nope. Barbie comes with GI Joe. She fakes it with Ken.
Okay, why don't you put in some work? Drop my link.
Why don't you put in some work and drop your own damn link?
All right, God, like I don't ever do nothing to nobody. Something.
I'm just sitting. I'm just sitting back tonight, letting y'all have the show. Oh my God. What do you get when you mix birth control and LSD? I don't know, Fish. What do you get? A trip without the kids? You know, I used to ask in situations like this, at what point in time did I lose control? And you guys made me realize that no point in time did I ever have control.
I
So
try
you
not to
can't
pretend
lose.
I have control on my channel.
Yeah, you don't lose what you can't, what you don't have.
Okay, guess who hit me up yesterday on my birthday?
Who hit you up on your birthday?
Swizz Miz hits me up on Discord in my emails. She just fluttered me with like every social media she owns. All you have to do is live yesterday. Live today better than you did yesterday. Tomorrow better than you did today. That's it. Your whole life will change if you just live by that simple concept.
Yeah, I try to do that every day.
I try.
I try to do that every day. Live one day better than the day I did the day before. And it don't always work, but paid my car insurance and house payment, and I'm exceptionally broke. Well, bent to hell anyway.
Hey, you in the right place, buddy. Listen, I had a hell of a birthday, bud. I made some arrangements to have a lump of cash land right before my birthday. That didn't happen. So, of course, I spent money I shouldn't have spent before my birthday because that was supposed to come through and they're reliable as clockwork. I'll never have to worry about it. It's going to be a couple of days late. Shucks. Cash App sent all the money back. So I thought I had my Cash App working. I did a birthday stream doing the groundhog roast. Every year I roast you. If you're willing to come up on panel, I'll smoke you out, bud. I'll tell you how much like Santa Claus you look, and you should be on a Colonel Sanders commercial.
Well, I'll tell you what, when that little bugger came out yesterday and saw his shadow, I messaged Life right away. I said, when you get off work, we are packing our bags. We are going to Puxatawny, Pennsylvania. And she said, why? I said, because I'm going to shoot that little bastard.
Well,
she said, is he predicting? She said, did he really predict 6 more weeks of winter? I said, well, it only makes sense because, spring is about 6 weeks away. So, yeah, I guess, let's see here. Will Carr. I need to see a picture. I need to see.
At least throw up some gang signs or something.
Yeah, throw up some gang signs or something. All right, we're there. We're wiggling. We're good.
All right, I'm gonna hop down. As long as there's no.
All right, brother. Much love, buddy.
Get your car.
There, can you hear me good?
Oh yeah, I hear you.
Oh, that's good, eh? So this is Colin.
How you doing, man?
Oh, freaking chilly out here, eh? I'm out in Canada.
I bet.
I don't know if you can see that. Yeah.
Well, in the dark, just speaking from the experience, the couple times I've been up into Ontario, up into Chatham and Windsor and stuff, during the nighttime, it don't look that much different. But in the daytime, it's so much prettier.
Yeah, it's this is going to be the coldest night in Canada, and it's getting to minus 32 tonight for me.
Man,
it's across the country. There's places that hit in 44. Oh yeah, it's crazy. Yep.
Hey, KG, good to see you. Yeah, we're supposed to down to I think 3 tonight. We had a high of 14 today, and that's going to be our coldest. Not taking into consideration the wind chill. We've been a couple degrees below zero a couple times this winter so far, especially that week before Christmas.
Wide. Yeah, it's global wide. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Jackrabbits are huge in Canada.
So's the dino beaver, eh?
Dino beaver, a dino beaver, and the Mosasaurus Rex, eh?
Oh, the mooses, yeah.
The mooses, man, and they're meaner than hell.
Actually,
I mean,
they're
you startle a deer, they run the other way. You startle a moose, and he tries to crawl up your ass and eat his way out the top end.
yeah, he does. He they're getting weird this year. The moose, they're traveling more south. There's something that's driving them south. And
We've had moose down here. We've had moose down here before. There was a sighting of, I think, 4 or 5 moose here about 10 years ago, right here in this area in Southwest Michigan.
oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's roughly when my mom got hit from a moose.
Oh wow!
Yeah, she was driving in our area. There's no moose for like 20, 30 years. There's like just not the area, right? In my part of like in Ontario. But
Okay.
about 9, 10 years ago, my mom ran into one, and it was the first ever. Like they were not supposed to be around.
Wow.
It was
Hey, Tom.
pushing them south, right?
Yeah. Yeah, something. I don't know. We've had some weird sightings down here in Southwest Michigan over the last probably 10 or 12 years. I mean, people have seen mountain lion down here. They've seen moose. They've even seen elk down here.
Well, because
Wolves,
the weather's changing.
bear.
Yeah.
It was not very long ago. My wife was driving to work, and she was only driving like 3 minutes north of the house, and she saw a bear running across the field. She had no clue what it was. She had to stop. She called me on the phone. She said, "I think I just saw a baby Sasquatch." I said, "A baby Sasquatch?" She goes, "Yeah, it was on all fours." And she says, "No, really, I think it was a bear." She goes, "It was black. It was probably 30 or 40 yards away from the car, running towards the woods." I'm like, "Damn."
I think it's because of the north is warming up, and they're slowly migrating south, where it's getting a little colder.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? They're just slowly migrating because our poles are switching, right? Naturally, our north and south pole are switching, and so naturally, the animals that rely on the coldness and the stuff like that, they're going to start migrating towards the shift, right?
Yep.
So
makes sense. I mean, anybody that knows anything about meteorology knows that, they've been screaming about global warming for several years, but before you can have a global warming, you have to have an ice age. So, before global warming ever really truly affects the planet, you're going to have another ice age. Maybe not as bad as the first one, but things are going to start getting colder in the central parts of the landmass. So,
right.
can you hear me, Tony?
Yeah, I hear.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I said hi to you just a little bit ago, and I wasn't sure if you could hear me or not. Yeah, there are bears in the southern parts of the U.S., Tony. They have them down there in Tennessee. They got them in Kentucky. They got them in Georgia. They got them all over the place. So
We had one track through Illinois.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, last year.
Wow.
Well,
before I moved up to Michigan, we had bear and mountain lion down by Gary, Indiana, and they were saying that it migrated down from Michigan. Everybody's like, "Well, that thing must have migrated 200 miles." into Indiana because they found cougar tracks out in a cow pasture, but they never found any dead cows or anything. They only found the tracks once. So what happened to it? But when my wife saw that bear not very long ago, she got online when she got to work and found out that there had been bears reported being seen by hunters and stuff there in that area. So it pretty much confirmed the fact that what she saw was a bear. So, and I think closest
Missouri, there
bear is. Go on.
in Missouri, there's bear hunting seasons. They have them there.
Hmm.
I've not ever seen another one here in Illinois, though. I suppose there could be some in the South, but I don't know.
Well, see that you need a nice bear rug or a hide to throw on your bed at the homestead when you all get settled in there.
No, that's about as bad as buffalo robe.
Dude, I'll tell you what, I had a buffalo robe one time. I think my wife preferred her weighted blanket over that buffalo robe. I mean, that was 75 pounds of oomph to try to roll around under at night.
Yeah, they're heavy.
But I picked it up in trade, and I used to take it out to the reenactments and stuff with me, and I would throw like one blanket on the ground. I'd take the buffalo robe and I'd triple fold it and just lay on the back. And I never found an air mattress that slept better than that buffalo robe did. I mean, it was really nice because if it got like super cold, I just pull out like one side of it and flip the fur right back over me again. I was fine. I slept on the ground in snow.
Oh.
The wife and I discussed getting a bear hide to put on the floor of the cabin, but I looked at what they cost.
Well, you're paying
Do a
for
rug or something.
the cure for it, like so them stripping it and doing the proper stuff. Really.
Yeah, you're going to pay minimum $800 for a bear hide.
Yeah.
That's why I always wanted to go bear hunting. Always wanted to go on a bear hunt just once in my life. And
same here.
What I seen was the cheapest one I seen was $1,400 to get a grizzly hide. There ain't no way.
But that will last you forever.
yeah.
Forever won't be that long if I starve to death because I bought a rug.
As handy as you are, Tony, I don't see you starving to death. I mean, even if you can't afford to put gas in the Suburban to drive to the grocery store, I'm sure there's going to be lots of stuff out there on the at the old homesteads you can put in your freezer.
I don't know. I won't starve to death. No, that's for sure. But I still to spend $1,000 or so on something that frivolous is not something I can do. Man, that's gun money.
Mm-hmm.
Gun money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In Canada, that's a new cell phone. And how long's the cell phone last? 2 years. So a bear skin at $1,200 or $1,400, that lasts a lifetime. I think that's a pretty good investment.
My missus can crochet, so just get her a dark brown bunch of yarn.
Have her crochet you a bear hide to put on.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I'm pretty sure I could give you some back hair. I got a lot of back hair.
Oh God.
I'm pretty furry myself.
Oh God. Oh.
It might kill you in shipping, eh? Because I'm in Canada, but.
All right, I'm bailing out.
I'm sorry. Oh.
Jesus God.
I got a story though. I got a
Do you?
story. I seen that you. Yeah.
Awesome.
A UFO story.
Okay. We all know there's been
It's,
plenty of UFO sightings in Canada.
right. One in particular. I'm not associated with. I'm intertwined with like ufology.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm on the Twitter Spaces. I'm on the YouTube channels. I listen in and watch. But there has not been yet postings or sightings about this craft that I see. Now, I call it a UFO, but I can kind of identify it, but I just don't know who's flying it or how it works. Right? And it was a metallic, drip-shaped craft. So a drip like a tear drip or a faucet drip.
Mm-hmm.
It was flying horizontally, not like a balloon, right? It was so low. It was so low. I could see little wings on the tip of it. And it also, somebody mentioned a movie, and I still don't know what movie it is. But the way when I see the craft and I replay it in my mind, it almost is like those little wings are not even wings, but extending legs, like they have legs in them, and you would fly it. So if you were to land this craft, I would assume you would go tip down, not the rounded end. So the rounded end would be pointed up, and the tip would come down, and the wings per se, those little, it looked like wings to me, would protrude out, and that's how it would kind of land. Now, if you've seen, for instance, Men in Black 2, I believe it is, the Stone of Zothon or whatever that weird, where the first of the movie where he gets the stone. He was supposed to get rid of the stone or something, and to save the planet. Now that craft that they were showing where that bug, the bug thing was at or whatever, the bug comes whatever her thing is, that octopus woman. You know what I'm talking about, right? In Men in Black 2. She's like has the tentacles and all that stuff. Right. Her craft. That's how I would see it as. Right? Landing. So it'd be the tip down, and the aliens and or whatever's on there, that's how it get out. Because there's no point. There's no engines on it. There was nothing on it. It was just solid
interesting.
metallic. No seams, no nothing. And it was in 2014.
Wow.
2015, I believe. Yeah, it was late in the year. It was like August-ish. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I tracked
Yeah,
it
Carrie.
from,
Lower Flamboyant.
I tracked it from southwestern part of the United States. South America, I should say. Right? I could say United States, but I'm North America, you're South America, whatever. But it came from the southwestern part. So I mentioned it on, I don't know if you know Alien Group.
Somewhat.
Sorry. Somebody's trying to call me.
Oh.
I mentioned on Alien Girl, and somebody's seen it around that time. I keep forgetting the year. I think it was 2014, but apparently this person seen it in 2015. And it came from southwestern parts, and they said they seen it flying over their town or whatever. So I seen it that year, if not the same month. It traveled across. Now I've been kind of searching because I live what you would call what it's called is Kawartha Lake.
Okay.
Here in Ontario. So that means we have tons of lakes, tons and tons and tons. Right? So I've been searching like a lot, especially on the east coast of Montreal, like on the east coast-ish, around the oceans and stuff like that. And
oh, we lost him.
Just a little bit.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Can't complain. Can't
What
complain.
time is it where you are now, Drew?
It is 9:16 p.m.
Okay. Fair enough. So have you been doing any more investigations lately?
Not during the winter time. Mostly what we do are the cemeteries, and it's really kind of hard to see gravestones under 5 or 6 inches of snow. 13 inches of snow, 16 inches of snow.
Just a little bit. No, well,
but hopefully we'll get them started up here real soon.
Yeah, we're looking at doing an overnight stay in a place here called Beechworth Asylum.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most paranormal places or asylums in Victoria, in Australia.
Oh, okay.
So one of my friends has been there, and she had so much happen between things in photos and things touching her and doing a lot of other things like that. And my daughter's work colleague's been there as well, and she's had people that look like them. They do photos. They do a group photo of a tour group if you do a tour group, and there's been people in the photos in period dress that look like they belong there, just like solid people, but they're not part of the group and they weren't there for the photo.
oh,
There we go.
There we go. I've lost you. I had lost you there for a minute.
Yeah, for some reason everything muted again. I was asking. Welcome back, Will. By the way, I was asking if there are a lot of investigative teams in Australia.
Not like there is in America. A lot of the paranormal investigators here aren't as public. Like most of us, if we're going to do stuff, we do it for ourselves. But I've had Chris and Drew from Paranormal Vlog, and Chris from Ghost God Scotland asked me to put some of our stuff up. So when I go to Beechworth, I'll probably do either a live cross or I'll put a recording up on my channel from what we get there.
Yeah, Australia is one of those places that I would love to. I would love to be able to go to sometime, and there's just so much history.
Oh yeah.
Between it becoming a British settlement, and even before that, you had the Aboriginal peoples all over Australia for thousands of years. So
Absolutely.
I can't imagine, with the way the cities started popping up and everything, and started encroaching into the surrounding environment a little bit. I'm sure you guys probably have the same issues with the spirits, be it animal or human, that we have here with our Native Americans.
Yes.
Slowly encroaching into different areas and stuff. Now, refresh me. Victoria is northeast on the coast, like towards New Zealand.
Where, if you know the map of Australia, we're southwest near Tasmania.
Okay.
So it is still, it is still near New Zealand, but we're closest down the very bottom, and Tasmania is the island part of Australia. It is still Australia, but that's the disconnected part of Australia, and Victoria is just above it.
Wow. Yeah, they don't teach us much about Australian geography here.
No, we're just that country that doesn't exist. But we have.
I would really like to study some of the history.
Oh, absolutely. We have some really great history. But at the moment, we have idiot governments here. That we've had one of our major prisons that had a lot of murders. It was our high security Pentridge prison. And they decided to tear it down. They've left the entry facade still there, and one of the buildings and a lot of the graves, taken away headstones, but left the graves. And they've built housing estates in there.
Wow. So they're building estates right on top of the old cemeteries and stuff.
Yes. It's right. They've taken down most of the buildings. So if you Google for Pentridge Prison, Victoria, you'll be able to see the old facade, the old bluestone walls and everything are there. But they've built a housing estate within those walls. And it was one of the most high security prisons. There was so many murders, and there was capital punishment in there as well. Back when we had capital punishment, we don't have that anymore. But they've built housing in there, and a lot of people aren't aware of the gravestones that are still there. Or the graves, because they've taken the headstones off. People thought that a lot of the bodies were moved, but a lot of them haven't been.
That seems to be the general practice in a lot of countries. And I'm sure since Australia was at one time under British rule, or are you still under British rule?
No, we have our own government, but we are still part of the British Commonwealth.
Okay. Well, we all know how the Britons were about doing public hangings and stuff. So I'm sure that was probably like the main method of taking care of a lot of your harder prisons and stuff, or prisoners.
That was our only capital punishment here, were hangings. We didn't have the other type here. In the old Melbourne jail in our capital city of Melbourne, they still have the gallows up.
Really?
Yeah, it's a 3-story high prison, and it's a closed prison now, but it's a tourist site basically. But in the cells, they still have the death masks of the people that were hanged there and that were in those cells. And the third level, I actually can't physically go into because every time I go up there, I get this sense of dread. And I didn't know at the time, but that was where the women and children were kept.
Oh.
And some don't know whether it's my guides or someone else that's just, no, don't go up there.
Wow. Now, I know in London, trying to think of the name of that place. It was there's on right in the middle of the road, there's like a star or something placed into the road, and that's where the old prison, or the old gatehouse, I think they called it, was located at, where they'd done the hangings at one point in time. And I've had a lot of people, or I've heard a lot of people talk about not being able to walk across that star, that they feel affected.
Yep.
By
that wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me at all. It's like it's confrontational going into any prison that has death masks of someone in there. And I don't know if a lot of people know what a death mask is. So it's a mold done of that person's head after they've been killed. So after they've been hung, they do a plaster mold of that person's head, and that is what is in the actual cells, and that's what gets put on display. Like, we have death masks of Ned Kelly, who was, if you don't know Australian history, he was one of our major gangsters. He killed a lot of police, and he's the most famous person in Australia, or criminal.
Wow.
And his death mask's up in there. But no, and the only way you get up, you climb a ladder. You literally climb a metal ladder to go up.
Really?
And yeah, and I went up to the top, and for some reason it was just like I had a wave of anxiety go through me. So whether that was someone, a spirit saying, no, you don't want to be up here, or what, but no. I did end up going up, but I didn't look in any of the cells. I had to go straight down pretty much after I walked the length. Didn't go into a cell or anything. It was just so unnerving in there. But it wasn't because of anything spiritual. It was more that dread.
You know, Fish, when she said that Ned Kelly was probably the most famous person in Australia, that's actually what crossed my mind too. Was I thought Paul Hogan was the most famous person from Australia.
Okay, so the most famous criminal, if you want to go there.
And then I started thinking, oh no, it has to be, Steve Irwin, because I still follow his wife and Mindy and everything that happens. So they release videos every so often on YouTube, and it's like, everybody in the whole world knew who Steve Irwin was. So.
Yeah, no, he's okay. So he's the most famous criminal.
Okay, yeah, because I've heard of Ned Kelly before, but I didn't realize he was Australian.
Yeah.
So that.
His famous shootout was up at Glenrowan, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours from where I live.
Oh, wow. Well, I had no clue. Like I said, I've heard the name before, but I had no clue that he was from Australia. Normally, when you hear gangster, you just don't think of
Australia.
You think of Chicago. You think of Las Vegas. You think of places like that. Hey, Kyle. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. So you guys really honestly don't have a winter down there, do you, Chris?
Yeah.
Oh, do you really?
We're in
figured
summer
that
at the moment.
close to the equator, you guys. Okay.
Yeah. Where I live, like I'm northern Victoria, so I'm close to the New South Wales border. We get -8. That's Celsius. But yeah, we get to -8 or so in Celsius in winter.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, we just had major floods here. August, September.
Yeah, I know a lot of places in Europe have been experiencing a lot of flooding. I seen a video that Chris released here a few weeks ago that was showing a couple of the rivers that were just, and I don't know if it was rolling down out of the highlands or what the deal was, but they were really swollen and moving fast. But yeah, we don't get a lot of news about Australia.
Yeah, I put on my Twitter page one of the floods that we had. We had flash flooding here. I went up to, we have a CFA, so it's our country fire authority. And we went up there to get our sandbags and then had to go up to fill them up. And it was probably 15 minutes. I was gone. We had no water on our road. And then when I came back, it was like mid-thigh level.
Wow. And I just thought about it. I don't know why I just thought about it, but it was really kind of ironic that you popped in tonight. We had one person send flowers to the funeral home for Grandma, and we have no clue who these people are. Neither one of us know either one of the man or the woman's names. But in that group of flowers was eucalyptus,
which is native to Australia.
Uh-huh. And then, I told my wife, I said, she goes, "This is eucalyptus, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And I said, "How could you tell?" And I said, "Don't tell me there's a koala bear hiding in there somewhere." And she started laughing at me. I said, "Doesn't eucalyptus smell so nice?"
Oh, we have gum trees everywhere.
Do you really?
Yeah, that's their main tree. That's our native tree. Like behind my house, I have a national forest, and it's all just gum.
You're only like my second or third person from Australia. We had one person that was on last year, and I'm still waiting on my package. She sent me a package from Australia, according to her, and it had Vegemite and all kinds of different snacks and things native to Australia that I was really looking forward to unboxing on the channel on a live stream, just because
Well,
everybody told me Vegemite sucked, and I couldn't wait to put it on a chip and
we
eat
ate
it.
it so
And
much.
now I heard there was something else like Vegemite. I can't remember what it was called.
Well, if you want to, Drew 2 from Scotland's got my email address. Get it off her. Send me your address and I'll send you some Vegemite.
Absolutely wonderful, and I will eat it. I'm all into trying new international things. We
Well,
are
if there's
so
anything
limited.
else, if there's anything else you want from Australia, just let me know and I'll send it to you.
I'm open to anything. I mean, I've heard, like, when it comes to my friend in England that lives about midway between the Scottish border and don't do it, Drew. We need you alive. he came over here he came over right before COVID hit, the year before COVID hit. And he could not believe how sweet our chocolate was compared to theirs. And the way we prepared certain foods at restaurants and stuff compared to how they do over there. So, he wound up bringing me, oh God, he brought me Irish whiskey and just all kinds of, brought me some real Scottish whiskey. And it amazed me how much more intense it was than drinking it here. Yeah, I don't think she could send a mail order bride. It would fit in a box, It just,
Where
at least
I
not in
live,
one piece.
my town's called Heathcote. So we're near, closest town to us is Bendigo. Now, I don't drink wine, and Heathcote is one of the biggest wine towns in Victoria.
Really? Wow. Now, my wife's a wine drinker. I am on occasion. I like my drink just a wee bit stronger than wine.
Yeah.
It depends on the size of the box, but the shipping might be a bitch, though.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Talk about paying your weight in gold.
So
now,
but eucalyptus is that's a dime a dozen here. That's primarily eucalyptus oil is what we use in cleaning in a lot of stuff here.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of such a thing. Eucalyptus oil.
Oh, so I need to send that too?
Apparently, because I've never seen it before. So, I mean, if they export it out of Australia, it's not exported anywhere around here. So, I've never heard. I didn't even know that you could use eucalyptus. Now, I've heard of people using it for like a eucalyptus lotion and stuff like that. I guess for the smell.
If you get eucalyptus oil, you can put it in water and you use it as a cleansing product. It's antibacterial.
Huh. Well, I'll be damned. Kangaroo jerky. Believe it or not, fishing. We have Myers stores up here, and I'm sure you got them down there in Georgia too. But if you go to the meat counter, they have a list of like 250 specialty meats that they can order, and kangaroo meat used to be. I don't know if it still is, but it used to be on that list. So I
Yeah, we're one of the major countries, or one of the only countries that eat our coat of arms. Because you can buy emu and kangaroo, and that's our coat of arms.
what does kangaroo taste like?
I don't know. I won't eat it. I have too many around here.
Do you really?
Oh yeah. I actually just sent the other Drew a video, like just driving down our road. I actually had a car accident a couple of weeks ago. A kangaroo jumped out and just jumped straight in the side of my car.
So your kangaroo are like our deer.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Which is really kind of funny
nighttime-
because the wife just about wiped the deer out tonight on her way home from work. So.
Well, here I can go down to the local park and we'll have 50, 60 kangaroos just eating the grass in the park.
Really? Now I heard they're aggressive. They don't. Are they not? Is that just a wives' tale that they get mean and they like chase people when they get too close to them and stuff?
They'll run away before they'll hit you. If you go up to them and they think you're going to hurt them, absolutely, they'll fight you. And they're big. They're huge. I've got a photo
Are
of
they
one
really?
in my backyard. Yeah, I've got a photo of a male. I had one here that used to just primarily live on my land, live on my property. But our garbage truck killed him a couple of months ago.
Oh.
But I have a 9-foot high fence. And when he was standing, he was nearly up to the top of my fence.
Really? Oh my God.
And
that's so much bigger than I thought they got.
And excuse the language, they're built like a brick shit house. They are huge. And they will stand and they can lift all their feet off the ground and just stand on their tail and boot you with their back legs.
Yeah, I've seen videos of them balancing on that big muscular tail and kicking.
Yep. They'll kill you. They can kill you quite easily. But most of the time, they would just leave you alone. They'll run away. They're more scared of you than you are of them.
Wow. Now, see, I had no clue they got that big. Normally, well, when I was real little, we had a movie that came out about a boxing kangaroo.
Kangaroo Jack?
Very famous. No. It was way before Kangaroo Jack ever came out. We're talking probably back in the 70s. And it was about a kangaroo that made his rounds here in America, getting in fights and stuff, and they wound up putting him up against a champion one time, and it just the guy wound up just beating the crap out of this poor thing. And I think they retired him after that. I don't know if it was a true story. I've seen it once. But it's one of those movies, especially when you're 5 or 6 years old and you're seeing it. It's one of those movies that, especially when you love animals, that it kind of sticks out in your mind. And I do not remember the name of we can't at least say Bogans.
I love all animals. I can't, and that's one of the reasons I won't eat kangaroo. Like, they're like a pet to me. But we have people here that will go out of their way to run them over with their 4-wheel drives and feed them to their dogs.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah. We have that. We had one, like I've hit a number of them with my cars and it devastates me every time. But they don't always die, like the last one. I think he broke his back and his leg, but he hopped off into the forest. But we had one that we'll call, if they get hit by a car and they don't die, but they can't move, we'll call the police, and the police will come and humanely shoot them.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had people, my daughter was waiting for someone to humanely kill this kangaroo, and a 4-wheel drive swerved and just ran over it. But there's other people that I know, if they see a kangaroo, they will, instead of buying pet food, they'll swerve to deliberately kill them.
So they're not protected in the country.
No. Snakes are.
Wow.
But kangaroos aren't.
Yeah. Go figure. Australia has like I think it is the deadliest snake in the world.
Which one?
God.
We
I
have
wish I could remember.
Here we have tiger snakes, brown snakes, and red belly black snakes.
Do you have one there that's called like a two-stepper or something like that? Like it's supposedly so poisonous you get bit and you may only make 2 or 3 steps and you fall dead on the ground.
I don't know about that one, but that could be one that's in like the Northern Territory, which is mainly desert.
Mm.
But here, predominantly, and I mean ours, the tiger, the black, and the brown are one of the top 10 deadliest in the world. And my next door neighbour's cat got bitten by a baby brown and nearly died.
Wow. Wow. Now see the babies, like the rattlesnake here in America. The babies are the ones that you really have to watch out for, because the adults, when they bite, the muscles will automatically push out only so much venom.
Yeah.
But the babies, when they bite you, they empty their venom sacs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's normally the babies here.
I handle snakes. They don't faze me.
Really?
Yeah. We have.
Now, see, I like snakes, but
I used to own snakes. But when I had children, I gave that away. But I still handle snakes with a show called Snake Busters. It's an educational show that they'll go around to shopping centres and that. And I handle their venomous snakes in their shows, and their pythons I'll handle so that other people can actually pat them, or they can have them on them if they want them. To learn to respect them, but not fear them as much.
Wow. They hunt cats and dogs in Australia. I've never heard that before either.
Who hunts cats and dogs?
It's something Fishing said that they hunt cats and dogs in Australia. I know dingoes are a problem. I don't know about like domesticated.
No, we don't hunt cats and dogs. Dingoes are an issue, but dingoes are also protected.
Oh, are they protected?
Yes.
Now that I did not know.
We don't have wild dingoes as such in Victoria. The wild dingoes are mainly in Northern Territory and Northern Queensland. That they're wild. People have some dingoes as pets illegally, because you're not supposed to. You have to have a license to be able to have a dingo as a pet. But yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah. We don't, as far as I know, I don't know anyone or anything about anyone hunting cats and dogs.
Now I have seen documentaries. Yeah.
We do have feral cats around, and you can trap them, but you're not allowed to hunt them. You're not allowed to hunt and kill cats and dogs.
He said he was just looking at a list of game in Australia. I've seen documentaries about the feral cat problem.
Yeah, we do have a big. People get cats as pets and they don't keep them inside, and then they breed, and you end up with feral cats.
Now, I have heard stories about dingoes, wild dingoes going into people's yards and, like our coyotes.
Yeah, that's outback Australia. Yeah.
Attacking children and stuff like that, or domesticated pets. And
yep, the Azaria Chamberlain thing was the main one with that. Yep. Yeah, that one I think was in Northern Territory as well, around Ayers Rock. That's all desert land there, and that's where there are a lot of wild dingoes. I would look around there. They probably do have licenses to hunt, but you're not allowed to just go and kill. We have too many laws here.
And being part of the British Commonwealth, don't you guys have like very, very tight gun laws like Britain does?
Yeah, we aren't allowed to own a gun unless you have a license. My father owned guns. Then you have to have gun safe that's bolted into the ground to house them, and then the ammunition has to be housed somewhere completely separate in another kind of safe that can't be opened. And you have, like, my dad had to be part of a gun club and have a very good reason to own a gun. Farmers here can own rifles as long as they have a permit, and it's to shoot things like foxes that are going to get their livestock.
Mm-hmm.
My sister owns and runs a merino sheep farm, and she's got rifles there for the foxes, but they can't shoot the eagles because eagles are also protected here.
Same as ours here.
So,
yeah, I always thought,
foxes.
Any advice? I can't figure it out. How do I go live, Mr. Drew? Any advice? I can't figure it out. When you get on YouTube, you'll see the small, especially if you do it on like your phone or something like that. At the bottom of the screen, once you get on YouTube, you'll see a circle with an X in it. And what you do is you click on that, and you'll see several selections on there. I think the third one down is Go Live. And when you click on that, then you'll have a screen pop up, and it'll have like title, description. Now you can go when you click, when you get all the way down to the bottom. Let me see if I can show you real quick here.
Are they talking about the StreamYard link?
You're just talking about going live, but okay. Right down here in the center at the bottom, you'll see that little circle with the X in it. Let me get a little closer here so you can see. You hit that, and this screen will pop up. You hit Go Live. And then this screen will pop up. You put in your title. I've got mine set to public. I don't worry about location, but you get all the way to the bottom and you'll see more options. You hit that and then scroll back down to the bottom again, and you'll see schedule for later. And then this little slider right here. decide schedule for later. So you can either you can go, but anyway, after you do that, you decide whether or not you want to go live at that moment or you want to schedule for later. Let's go on and do that. That's fine right there. Let's see here. Let's go for 10 o'clock p.m. Okay. Title. Let's say blah 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 blah. You go back down. That next at the bottom highlights in blue. You click on that, and it'll blam. There's your picture, and you can either go live or, you know, done. But let's get rid of this now. I'll make sure I didn't just okay, go back up there and delete that scheduled stream. But that's how you do it. And it's real easy on your mobile device. That's one of the reasons that I normally do my my live streams like that, because I can set them up 2-3 months in advance and just make a thumbnail. And but that's you're welcome, Joe. It's been a rough month. It's been a rough month, but you know, we're recovering. It's like I've said so many times. I've had so much, you know, outpouring of love and everything for our loss and stuff last week. And, you know, I get messages on Messenger all the time. How are you guys holding up? And it's like I said, the fact that she's gone isn't hard. It's the fact of knowing she's never coming back. You know, she would go and stay with the wife's cousin for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. We were used to that. And it's like I told our friends earlier tonight, in 2 weeks, when she's still not coming home, that's probably when it's going to hit me. But her urn is sitting right outside my studio door. So every time I come in, I rub the top on the urn. Every time I walk out, I rub the top on the urn. You know, so that's the roughest part, you know, is knowing she's never coming back.
But she's out of pain.
Yeah, exactly. She's out of pain. You keep her alive, Drew. Exactly. That's exactly it. Is the food cost up in Australia? That's a good question.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That didn't take long to answer. What's a dozen eggs cost there?
A dozen eggs at the moment, it's about $8.
Almost twice what it is here in Michigan.
A kilo of mandarins at the moment is anywhere from $10 to $15.
Wow.
I have a crapload of fruit trees here, so I don't have to buy fruit.
It's funny. I mentioned egg prices, and that was what he just asked. Eggs up? Yeah, believe it or not, 6 months ago, we were paying 99 cents a dozen for eggs. And we could buy 2.5 dozen eggs for right about $5. And now 2.5 dozens about $15, and a dozen eggs are close to $4. So $5. So
no, what do I put? Okay, so 500 grams of margarine now for us is $10.
Oh wow. Yeah, so, margarine and butter, they've gone up a little bit here, but not that much. No. I mean, you can still find butter on sale, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm lucky that we
$2.99.
had, during all the lockdowns that we had here with COVID, because I'm an essential worker in healthcare, nurses and everyone else, we're essential workers. So I've worked all the way through. Unlike a lot of people that business closed, people have permanently lost their jobs. So I'm lucky that I've worked all the way through.
Yeah, I felt so bad for um, our essential workers. I mean, not just ours, but essential workers worldwide during the pandemic. I mean, you guys were our frontline soldiers. You know, for the countries. I mean, you were the ones that. Hey, Robert, good to see you. Long time no see, bud. You were the ones that were out there putting your necks on the line every single day and risking your own health and the health of your family and stuff like that. And it amazed me how exhausted these doctors and these paramedics and these police officers, these firefighters, how much they put their necks on the line every single day, let alone our medical staffs, our doctors and nurses and medical assistants. And it
I
just
was
blew me
really
away that
lucky. I'm in aged care, so I don't know what your aged care is like there. So we have nursing homes. So
we
I
do too.
work I work in a nursing home. We call it aging in place. So we don't have high low care. We do have dementia. And then we have dementia high care as well. So I work in high care dementia predominantly. So I'm not in the EDs and things like that. I haven't been through COVID and things like that. I'm just aged care. But like we went into lockdown, so families couldn't come and visit residents when it all first started breaking out. And we would cop abuse, something savage from family members. But we were also trying to hold the residents, their mental health up, because they couldn't have visitors. So we were their social network. We were everything.
Yeah, I can't believe people gave you what? Well, I don't know if you have the saying in Australia, but here we call it a raft of shit. I can't believe that people would do that, because one of the very first things they said here was the very young and the very old were the highest at risk. And then they said anybody with an immune deficiency, a disease, heart condition, diabetes, anything like that. But I mean, the young and the old was the very first thing that they warned about. And in a nursing home setting where all those people have is each other, and they have their little community room, and they have their little TV room, or where they sit around and communicate with each other and stuff. One person gets it, and it could be spread through the entire facility in a matter of just a couple of days. So, how I don't understand why people would be so irresponsible to be assholes and blame you guys for doing what you had to do to keep their relatives, their elderly, safe and healthy.
We did what we could.
I don't speak asshole, so I don't understand.
We did what we could. We ended up having an iPhone. We bought an iPhone for one for each side of the facility, and a family member could book with our what we call diversional therapists. So our activity group, they could book times to come and see their family, but it would be what we called a window visit. So they would visit via a window. They could see each other, and the family member called that mobile phone, and it was on speakerphone for the residents. So they could be demented, they could be completely non-verbal, they could be absolutely normal, no cognitive impairment, and like you and I. They just needed help with certain ADLs or whatever. They could come and their family member would ring that phone and they could talk via that phone and see each other through a window, but they just couldn't hold them. They couldn't hug them. They couldn't do the normal things that everyone else could, basically. But that was our way of holding up communication and still protecting our residents. But we were gowned up. We had to wear full gowns that tied at the back. We had to wear masks. We had to wear shields. We were sweating our butt off just looking after them, but it protected them. And I can honestly say I can 100% proudly say that we have not had one death in our facility from COVID.
Wow.
We've
Very
had COVID
cool.
in the facility,
That's
but no one has died.
Wow. That is definitely something to be able to brag about.
Well, we put those protocols in place to protect us as well as them. But it's mandatory here that anybody works in the healthcare industry has to be vaccinated. But we still have idiots around that won't get vaccinated and they protested and they quit jobs because you can't work here unless you're vaccinated.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the vaccination, and so many people on here warned me not to do it, but I got vaccinated to keep Grandma safe. Yeah. And even though all of us had it here in the house, it was more like a real hard cold, or a flu bug than anything else. And I don't know if you remember here just a couple weeks ago when I was having the real bad pains in my arm and the weird bruising. Yep. My wife asked me, she goes, "Well, did you pull something?" I said, "No, but if you want to know something that was very, very weird about it, right where I got my shot was a very hard lump."
Yep.
And I told my doctor, and he said, you can't have a reaction a year later. I said, that's funny because people who got the vaccination when they first came out have been complaining about being tired, having arm pains, lethargy, all kinds of things, breathing problems. I said, but when all that bruising and stuff took place on my arm, right where I got that shot was a very hard lump. But it's gone now. There's nothing left. There's no more pain. The bruise disappeared that ugly bruise disappeared in 3 days. So
yeah, I've had 3. We have 4 vaccinations and they keep going here. But I started to get quite unwell each time I had a vaccination. We're compulsory to have 3. They're trying to combine our COVID shot with our flu vax because we have to have flu vaccinations every year to work in aged care and the medical industry. But I've said that I don't want another one because I was just getting sicker and sicker to the point where my last vaccination I was bedridden for 4 days.
Oh.
But when I got COVID, it was like having a severe flu. That was it. And that's what they say.
That's exactly how it was here.
Yeah, the vaccinations they say are to stop you getting the life-threatening side effects and symptoms of COVID. Won't stop you getting it, but it will most likely save your life.
And it's really funny because I got the first vaccination, then I got the first booster, but they never called me to schedule the second booster. So, I was supposed to get it, I believe it was shot, then 5 months, then 5 months. And it's been 6 months, 7 months since I had the the last booster. And I just talked to him at the doctor's office yesterday, and they didn't even mention it to me then. I'm like, okay, well, apparently I'm one of those lucky ones and only needed one booster.
Yeah, no, we had to have people come in and vaccinate us in the facility. We didn't have a choice. They haven't told us we need 4 and that's mandatory, but I've just said to my director of nursing, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, especially after getting so sick the last time.
But that's with the mRNA ones, the Moderna ones. We now have one here called Novavax, which is protein based. So it's not DNA based. So if they allow you to have that, then I may go for that. But we were compulsory to have Pfizer here.
Oh, okay.
But I think we're up to number 5 vaccination here. Yeah, we don't have my body, my choice in the medical industry here.
Yeah, I didn't think you probably did.
Yeah, no, we didn't have a choice. But in the same token, I have an elderly mother that I'm primary carer of, and I have an uncle that is on chemotherapy for the rest of his life. So I would have the vaccination in a heartbeat to keep them safe.
Yeah, that's exactly how I was about Grandma. Like I said, even though we all got it, she never got the shot. She never got the vaccine. But she wound up with it, the same version of it that I had. It was like having a real bad flu.
No, well, my mum has a severe heart condition, and she also has strokes. I won't take the chance because her heart, she only has like a 20% heart function. I'm not going to take the chance that she hasn't had it. And even the doctors have said if she gets it, her heart won't be strong enough to fight it. And I'm not going to take the chance.
Yep. Well, Grandma had COPD, and well, now we know that she had lung cancer, and she had already had the first stroke. She was at that point in time, she was in the beginning stages of dementia and Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Ask me how I took care of this woman for 7 years, because I have no clue. But looking back on those 7 years now, that was probably one of the most fulfilling things I ever done in my life. Even as sick as I got at times with my diabetes. So yeah, I'm right. I understand exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, look, about my dad passed away 10 years ago tomorrow. And I'm glad he didn't see COVID. Really glad. He had diabetes. He had a broken spine. He had Parkinson's. And one day we came here and he'd lost 42 kilos. And he was as yellow as your symbol on your chat. And I asked him when he'd seen the doctor last. And he said 2 days ago. I said, what did he say? He said, just ask me how I was. And I said, okay, we're making an appointment. Went down, saw him, and he said, what can I do for you? And me, in all my wisdom, said, what the hell are you effing saying? Can you not see he's not well? And I took him, we got second opinion, we got tests done, found out he had terminal pancreatic cancer. And the doctor missed it 12 months beforehand. He's always just been, his type 2 diet and medication related. He was fine. One day they couldn't keep him below 14. And so his doctor said, you've been stable for so long, we'll just up your medication. That was the start of his cancer.
So with pancreatic cancer, then his body was producing more bilirubin, giving him basically a jaundice.
Yes. Very much so.
Okay.
His eyes were fluorescent yellow. And so me being me was the bitch to the medical industry and pushed for tests to be done immediately. When they did his scans, we weren't allowed to leave the area that they did the scans because it was just at a radiology department. It wasn't in a hospital that we had them done. And they called for him to be taken to hospital straight away. And they did. They took him to the major hospital here in Heidelberg called the Austin, which has the Olivia Newton-John Cancer Centre and that attached to it.
Okay.
And they gave us 3 days for him to live. I had a stent put in his bile ducts. They couldn't treat him. They couldn't do anything. Pretty much like what you've just gone through with Grandma. And we did palliative care, and we managed to get 9 weeks.
Wow.
So, but
well,
yeah. To me, it just says if you're not sure of something, get a second opinion.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that didn't hear this morning, I've been trying to figure out what to do about this. I have a thing here. Our clinic has got 2 doctors. It has got a couple medical assistants, and it's got a nurse that sees people, prescribes medicine, whatever. The new doctor, since my doctor left in December, the new doctor I'm going to have is the one who misdiagnosed Grandma. The one who I have done everything in my power to convince the family to sue the shit out of. Because any doctor who listens to an 83-year-old woman's chest and says, oh, well, I don't know why she's breathing like that. Both lungs sound like they're operating just fine. And then 3 days later, we find out that one lung is completely gone from lung cancer that's moved into her kidneys and her liver. And the other lung is full of pneumonia and partially collapsed.
The only issue you have with that kind of thing is if you don't have a no-win, no-fee lawyer, trying to find a lawyer to represent you and find the money to pay for it is the massive thing. But with what you've just gone through and the diagnoses, as long as they haven't destroyed the medical reports and everything else, you've got a case.
Yep. And this is an experienced doctor, guys. This is not some young kid that just got out of medical school a year or 2 years or 3 years ago. This guy's been practicing medicine for 20 years.
My dad,
but he couldn't recognize a collapsed lung and lung cancer. And one thing that pisses me off about Michigan, they only require the elderly to visit the doctor once a year.
No.
My mom and dad see the doctor every 2 months, and they're 5-6 years younger than Grandma was.
We have a doctor in our facility 3 to 4 times a week. My mum has checkups every month. And we recommend that anyone in our facility sees a doctor at least once every 3 months.
Yeah.
But as
Weird.
for this doctor, like
Weird
my
they do
father's doctor tried to ring me and ask how my father was. And I just said to him, if my father wants you to know anything, he'll call you.
Yep. I
'Cause
mean, you know,
I told
everybody
him
had,
flat out he was terminal, and
yeah.
he was an idiot.
Well, see, my mother was a home health aide for several years.
Yep.
We had so many grandmas and grandpas growing up that we met and lost, and
Yep.
I knew that, you know, I actually got a hold of members of the family weeks before she passed and told them, you know, grandma's different than she was last week. She's different than she was last month. You need to come and visit. And we finally got everybody together the day that Steph took her to the hospital and found out that everything that was wrong with her was there. And 2 days later, she was gone. So, you know, I have the utmost respect for everybody who works in the medical field, regardless of who they are, what ethnicity they are, what country they're from. But me personally, and I apologize to anybody who works in the medical field out here. If I'm going to go see somebody about my health, I actually want to go see a doctor. I don't want to see a medical assistant. Me, a medical assistant is a doctor wannabe that didn't want to pay for 12 years of college.
We don't have medical assistants
You
here.
know,
We only have doctors and nurses. We have PCAs, which are personal care assistants that do home
mhm.
care and also do stuff in the aged care facilities. But as for seeing patients, we only have doctors and nurses.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a medical assistant here is basically, um, basically they can check you, they can make a diagnosis, and they can write prescriptions. But I've
So it's like a
never in
nurse
my life
practitioner.
ever, yeah, yeah, yep. And our nurse practitioners, of course, the same way. They can check you out, they can make a diagnosis, and they can write a prescription. Um, but I used to tease my medical assistant all the time. It's like, so you make enough money just being a medical assistant to have 3 boats? You lucky bastard, you. Because if
Believe
you
me,
can have three
nurses and that in
boats,
Australia don't get paid much.
it's not surprising. I don't think anybody gets paid what they're worth anymore.
I wouldn't change my
But
job for the world.
I don't blame you. I don't blame
But
you.
my passion is palliative care.
I can understand that, because I'm here to tell you, if I could relive the last 7 years over again, now I finally understand what was so fulfilling about it when my mom did it for so long. Because even
And
though
I'm lucky
she
enough to
knew
do it
that
for a
time
job.
was, yeah, yep. Even though they, and that's the sad thing. That's another bad thing about the state of Michigan. Almost every other state in the country has something in place where if a family member is caring for an elderly family member, preparing their meals, helping them get dressed, doing things for them, you know, the state will actually pay that individual for doing it.
So you
You
get
know,
like a
I was
carer's
grandma's,
allowance.
yeah. But see, a home health aide in the United States can make up to $35,000 a year, and it's usually either paid by the individual or by their insurance. The state of Michigan has nothing like that. So you really have to love what you're doing to do it for free for 7 years.
Absolutely.
And that's why I say I would do it again. I would do it
But
again without a second thought.
Absolutely. The reward you get from it is just unbelievable, especially if it's a family member. Like,
Yep.
I'm still friends now with some of my residents' children. I had someone, they had their mum. I go to some of their funerals. But I had someone send me a photo where they've buried their mother's ashes and said, "This is the view my mum now has." And they value the fact that we give a damn.
Yep. We actually, now, do you have hospice in Australia?
We don't have hospice as such. We have a place called Caritas Christi, which is a place where people go to die. Generally, it's a cancer place. So if you're tested terminal, there and you have no one else that will look after you, and you're not elderly, you go there. We have palliative units, but if you're going to live longer than 4 weeks, you can't go there. They'll ship you off to an aged care facility. Or you have what we have, which is aged care, or you can do it in home, which is what we do.
Yep. Hospice here, they actually come to your home. They take care of any arranging any medical equipment you need for your home. They make daily visits,
So it sounds like
and we met
in-home
some.
palliative care.
Okay. But we met our staff and Grandma met the hospice people at the hospital on Monday, and believe it or not, they were here. The lady from hospice showed up like 2:40 a.m. to bring stuff out and talk to staff and check on Grandma after they got home from the hospital. They came back out on Tuesday, spent 2 or 3 hours talking to us, talking to her, trying to get her to communicate. And then, of course, Wednesday, when she passed about 5:20 a.m. I woke everybody up. Steph and everybody had their cry, and she called the hospice nurse, and she was here by 7:30.
Yeah, that's what we have.
And I had already taken her face mask off, turned the oxygen machine off, crossed her arms, pulled the blankets up on her, just basically prepared her for the family to show up. And I was really touched today. We received a condolence card from the hospice place, and it just really it made me feel like I had done something right, because I actually broke down after they took her body last Wednesday. I broke down and I told Steph I have no purpose left in life.
Yeah, it's hard.
She
really
was my
hard.
only purpose in life. I said I actually felt important.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a condolences book, and when someone passes away, we have a photo of that resident there, and any staff and any other residents can write a note to the family. And like, some of us write notes to the deceased resident, and that gets given to them at the funeral or after, depends on how soon they manage to organise the funeral. And we also give them a packet of seeds of the forget-me-not plant, so they can be planted in memory of their loved one.
That's nice. That's very nice. I like that.
I can send you a packet of them.
Please do.
I will.
Please do. I will.
Because
I will be more than happy.
That's something that I implemented in our facility was the forget me nots. Because my grandmother had some in her house, and at my dad's funeral, my cousin presented me with one of the plants from my grandmother's old house. And I think when we give that book of all the signatures and all the messages to the family, I just think it's the most appropriate thing to give to the family, not to forget their loved one.
Very nice. Very nice. I like that. I like that. Well, guys,
So I'll have to get your address, Drew, so I can send them to you with the Vegemite
I
and the
will get with.
eucalyptus oil.
Okay. I will get with Drew probably tomorrow and get your email address, and I'll send you an email.
Absolutely.
All right, Chris. Thank you for hanging out this last hour and stuff like that.
My pleasure, mate.
Yeah, I've been on here a half hour longer than I planned, y'all. So I am going to hit it. My wife is probably already passed out because she's got to go to work tomorrow morning too. She don't get her weekend until Tuesday. So thanks everybody for hanging out tonight. Thank you very much, Chris and Will and Tony and Squatch for coming up here and chatting tonight. It kept me from having to do a bunch of talking. And I you know how much I love to talk. So be checking out the channel on Sunday. We have a video coming out on Sunday called the Iraqi Stargate. Supposedly a brand new discovery not very long ago south of Baghdad, Iraq. That is why the military hung over there 10 years after they crushed the Iraqi army. So, and you actually get to hear some of the news briefing on things going on over there. So, be checking out that one. Of course, we'll have our regular videos on Tuesday and Thursday. They're both pretty good too. So, that's it. I'm out of here. I know it's morning time for you. So, you're just starting your Saturday, and we're still an hour and a half away from Saturday. So,
we're 2:32 in the afternoon here.
See, look at that, guys. They're like what, 6 to 18? They're 18 hours ahead of us where she's at. So, but all right, guys, I'm out of here. Y'all have a great weekend. Chris, take care of yourself, sweetie.
You too, mate.
Everybody else, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. God bless you. God love you. I do. We'll catch y'all later.
See you, Drew.
See you later.